I don't know where you are on Monday, Easter Monday that is, but there was a meeting on that day at a man called Francis Atwoli's Kajiado home that has caused quite a political stir. According to former Jubilee chairman David Murathe, oops, did I say former? Actually, is the former but now present Jubilee Secretary General. Yeah. I'm telling you, Kenyan politics, very complicated. Anyway, I'll come to that in a minute. So according to Bwana Murathe, let's leave the titles out for now. It was just a very innocent Mbuzi choma session. Atwoli called him, told him, hey, Bwana Murathe, kuja tukule mbuzi bwana, ni Pasaka. So Murathe went, and then according to Murathe, when he reached there, he said, Allah, Raila, you're here. Even you, Orengo, yeah. Junet Mohammed, Suna East legislator, you're also here. All you guys are here. Now, of course, you need to go tell the birds that it was not an accidental Nyamachoma session. No way. That guest list has a meaning, and we'll come to that also very shortly. And then we're hearing some very crazy things. Ati Raila is joining government very soon, after this global crisis is over. Kwani these guys know something we don't. Yeah. Then we're also hearing that Jubilee is merging with ODM. What? That last one was from Bwana Moses Kuria, the Gatundu South legislator. He assured us, ngojeni, these guys are merging. What does all this mean? Now, before we dive in, and we have quite a lot to cover, I'm a bit puzzled because I'm being accused of abandoning Kenyan politics. Now, I need somebody to explain that one to me. Because over the last month, what politics has been going on in Kenya? Hakuna? All our very noisy politicians have been leading us from the rear, not from the front. They have been lying low, in fact lower than envelopes. So what did I miss? What secret political meeting is this that I missed? And this is not a breaking news channel. When something happens politically, I don't rush to make a video. That's a very easy way of getting it wrong. I first of all digest, analyze, talk to a few people, make sure I fully understand what I'm saying. You have to be very careful with these politicians. I keep on telling you guys. And of course I appreciate most of you realize. You have to be very careful with these people. Because it is very easy to get more confused than the people you're trying to analyze the politics to. Oh yes. Somebody calls a press conference, you rush to do a video. Aye. Before you can even answer the basic questions. Why? Why now? What is the end game here? Etc. Etc. Anyway, let's get on with it. And I need to give you a heads up. Towards the tail end of this video, I will analyze what I believe is the major political issue in all these acrobatics we are seeing. I'm going to analyze that separately because it is major. So let's start at the beginning. All these manenos kicked off, when the Jubilee Party presented, or rather gazetted, some changes to their National Management Committee. Now, the excuse they gave was that 3 of the members of that committee had landed government jobs, and therefore they need to be replaced. But the interesting thing is that the 3 were replaced by 5. Now, things have been quiet, for over a month, as far as Kenyan politics is concerned. And so when this Gazette notice appeared, all hell broke loose. The DP Ruto camp came out with both barrels of their guns firing. And today I'm going to be very balanced. No emotions. Actually more balanced than usual. You know, if you have a private company with your wife, a family business, and you want to make some changes to the structure of your small business, you don't do things kienyeji. There is a procedure. You have to document what you're doing. Now, when it comes to a political entity, that is even more important. Because that political party, the political entity, does not belong to individuals. And especially for a party like Jubilee, this is a national party. So the DP Ruto camp came out and said, no, where are the minutes that recorded these appointments of these 5 to replace the 3? Murathe's camp came out and said, where? We don't need minutes. Kwani the party leader doesn't have power to make changes within the party. And it was at that point that those Kenyans who have really dearly missed our politics brought out the bobgon. Not the popcorn. They brought out the bobgon. They momentarily forgot the serious crisis we're going through and started munching at their bobgon. Very excited. At last, siasa imerudi. Very good. And that was when I came to the realization that partisan politics in Kenya is an essential service. You know, before you go into lockdown, you have to list essential services. Water, food, busuma, ugali, etc., etc. Now in Kenya, top on the list, before you even list the water, is politics. Our politics. And so the action started. And the emotions were flying left and right. The DP Ruto camp said, you guys, you Jubilee faction, allied to Murathe and the president, you really needed the deputy president during elections. Now, he's not even in any decision making. You make changes to the National Management Committee, and the deputy president reads the Gazette notice. And indeed also the deputy party leader. He reads all this in a Gazette notice. Murathe's response was just classic Murathe. This deputy president has been missing in action, according to Murathe. He is supposed to be the task force, the COVID-19 task force. He's never seen there. But the minute we touch on anything remotely connected to the 2022 Uhuru Kenyatta succession politics, the guy comes out very quickly. This is Murathe talking. I'm paraphrasing. I don't understand what all the hullabaloo is about. Some people joined government. The party leader made some changes to the National Management Committee. And then there's all these manenos. What for? Unnecessary. Okay, fair enough. Now let's move on to something else. Keep that in mind. Murathe's view of this thing. On Easter Monday, a meeting is called. We can't call it anything else, I'm sorry. It was not an accidental Mbuzi choma session. No. That should be clear. A meeting is called at Atwoli's home, disguised as a Mbuzi choma session. And in attendance are the following: Raila Odinga, David Murathe, Francis Atwoli, James Orengo. Now, before I even go on, those names already, if you're following politics in Kenya, When those people meet that list already, you have to sit up and pay attention. They cannot meet for nothing. Those are busy people. And if they want nyama choma, roast goat meat, there are many other places they can go for it, other than all the way to Kajiado. Then there's also Eugene Wamalwa and Junet Mohammed. Now, just looking at that guest list, it should be very obvious that there's something cooking. And whatever is cooking is big. Now, looking at that guest list, one name stands out. It is odd. Eugene Wamalwa. That tells you these guys are definitely up to something. But what? Okay, let's start with what this meeting was definitely not. This meeting was definitely not for an alliance. I doubt whether a political alliance was on the table. So when you don't have a political alliance, what else could you be discussing? Maybe, just maybe, a merger between two political parties. What Moses Kuria was suggesting. Now, let's follow that train of thought. By the way, I'm not telling you this is what was discussed. I don't know what they discussed. This was a top secret meeting. In fact, people are not supposed to find out they were meeting because somebody called the press. I suspect it's somebody in the DP Ruto camp. They got wind of what was going on, from the intelligence, and they decided to call the press, kuchafua that meeting, to expose that meeting. Anyway, so let's follow that train of thought. And we are talking hypothetically. Just supposing, the Jubilee party merges with ODM, then the Murathe faction of the party would be able to solve a problem they have very neatly. And the problem they have is the deputy president. And then this new political alliance, once it has gotten rid of the deputy president, because he'll not be in the lineup, they can merge with other small political parties. Game shot. Now I can hear somebody saying, Chris, this is not fair, especially people in the deputy president's camp. And my response, don't even go there. Why? Because I heard Bwana Murkomen complaining bitterly that Parliament is dead. That instead of playing its oversight role over the executive, it is an arm of the executive. Now my question is, when did Bwana Murkomen realize this? Was it when he was enjoying, especially in the run-up to the election and after, was it when he was enjoying being close to the executive? Or is it now that things have gone south? Let me just leave it at that. Bottom line, in politics, there's no such thing as fair or unfair. There's only what you can get away with. And this is the same the world over. I find it super interesting that the last time I checked, Murathe resigned from being chair of Jubilee. But the story he has now is hilarious. Oh, my resignation was not accepted. The clear sign that a resignation has been accepted is when the appointing authority appoints a replacement. No replacement has been appointed. And therefore, I'm still the Jubilee chairman. Politics is a game of what you can get away with. Period. There's nothing like fair or unfair. If you can get away with it, fine. If you can't, bahati mbaya. Sorry. And the clear implication here, to add fuel to our theory, is that Murathe said the reason why he left is that he could not bear to sit on the same table in a National Executive Council meeting of the party with somebody called the Deputy President, whom he says is not suited Yeah. Well, just to cut a long story short, he can't stand the deputy president. So the fact that he's now back in Jubilee, because there's no other way we can put it, means that the next National Executive Council meeting of the party, whatever party, most probably a merger of a party, will not have the deputy president seated there. Anyway, the huge advantage the Murathe faction has is that they have a very long list of very popular politicians who were rigged out by the deputy president in the Jubilee nominations of the last general elections. Oh, the deputy president did very bad rigging elections. Oh, the deputy president blah, blah, blah. Stop. In politics, it is a game of what you can get away with. Yeah, the deputy president did that, allegedly, and he got away with it. Period. Accept and move on. And now, that is a major problem for the deputy president. Not something he can't handle, but it is a major problem. Bottom line, we have a lot to look forward to politically, after the current crisis is over. Because that battle will be a no-holds-barred, bare-knuckle political duel. And may the best side win. Now, as I promised earlier on, towards the tail end of this video today, I will tell you what the real issue here is. It is nothing to do with the deputy president. It's nothing to do with Jubilee. It is a much bigger issue. But first, this global crisis, and what I'm going to discuss today is very much linked to what I've already discussed and what I'll discuss at the tail end. And I'll start by asking a very simple question. If these politicians like us had no idea when this global crisis is going to end, at least for the country, would they have done what they have done? Answer that one. In my view, I don't think so. So in other words, they know something that we don't. In other words, they know that this crisis is going to come to an end very, very soon. Now, I'm a dreamer, so please allow me to dream. I'm dreaming and hoping that the reason why they're sure it will come to an end soon is because African countries are going to come together and say no. They're going to tell the World Health Organization and Bwana Gates, keep your virus, keep your vaccinations, keep your manenos, and leave us alone. That is what I'm dreaming. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because Nelson Mandela said something to the effect that the successful person is the one who keeps on dreaming and never gives up dreaming. But having said that, I can see a pattern. I can see a pattern where some certain countries have done things that may force Africa to wake up and unite. For example, China, by harassing Africans in their country, they are forcing a unification of the continent for the first time. But putting my pipe dreams aside for a minute, this crisis, global crisis, could also end because so many things have gone wrong. I think people have discovered more things than they were supposed to discover. Like this World Health Organization link to Bill Gates and the hidden perpetrators of this global crisis, who want one world government and one world religion. There are many things in this life which you cannot successfully do if everybody is seeing what you're doing. For instance, in a soccer game, it is impossible for a striker to score if the defenders are seeing him from very far, and they know what his end game is. For instance, this striker is known to be very good at heading the ball into the net. And therefore, what the defenders will do is just ignore the striker and make sure that that cross never comes. It should be crystal clear that the end game here, the very important end game here, was to vaccinate the entire world. And as you know, there have been some very significant moves that could frustrate that. In fact, will most probably frustrate any move in that direction. Number one, the Trump administration in the United States have abandoned the projections of Bill Gates and the World Health Organization. Yeah, because those are the projections which are keeping people in lockdown. So they've abandoned them. They've said, no, we have our own figures. We have our own data based on the testing we've been doing. Number two, President Trump has cut off funds from the United States government. Now, there are other people around the World Health Organization right now who could fill in that space very quickly. These are billionaires. They could come up with that money that the United States has withheld. That is true. But in my opinion, the symbolic significance is much bigger than the amount of money that has been withheld. It means something. It means that as far as the United States is concerned, we are no longer with the World Health Organization. And in my view, if I was the World Health Organization Secretary General, I'd be very worried. Because now that opens the door for people to start looking in the direction of criminal proceedings against certain people in that organization. And so, if it is indeed true that this virus was manufactured in a lab, and because it was manufactured in a lab, those who manufactured it knew how they were going to spread it. And they also knew how they were going to keep on spreading it so that they keep people on lockdown. So if it suddenly disappears, then that is conclusive evidence that indeed it is true, it was made in a lab, and it is true, people are spreading it. So if the prophecy that it will disappear as quickly as it came comes to pass, that will be a signal. You should know that that is conclusive evidence that that is absolutely true. So that is another way the crisis could end, very suddenly. And remember, once the United States comes out of a lockdown, which Trump is assuring us they will, then many other countries around the world will quickly follow. And the way Trump people are talking, it'll be early May. Not only that, there are quite a number of countries right across the globe that are cautiously coming out of a lockdown and cautiously attempting to go back into economic activity. That is very telling. Now, I don't want to say anything yet about the video I made yesterday. Very controversial, very shocking information. And whatever you want to say, I am 1000% convinced that all that information is correct. As crazy as the information is, it is correct. Let's see what happens over the next few hours. And maybe tomorrow we will revisit. Now on to what I promised. I have reason to believe that the Kajiado meeting with the Atwolis is as a result of a major crisis that is coming, that the political class is aware of and is trying to preempt, is trying to get ahead of. What kind of crisis am I talking about? Actually, if people didn't have so much fear, they'd be able to see it. For over a month now in Kenya, people have not been working. People have not been earning money. So what do you think is happening? Kenyans are struggling and fighting, not against the virus, against something called hunger. And in case you didn't know, politics does not work on people who are hungry. At least it doesn't work the way politicians want it to work. And so it should be pretty obvious that one of the possible ways of getting ahead of this crisis is by quickly forming a government of national unity. But in my view, that will not be enough. Especially in our situation in Kenya currently, where we have a very vibrant and aggressive opposition. Of course, you know the opposition I'm talking about. Team Tanga Tanga and the Deputy President. Bottom line, we have a very serious crisis. More serious than any other crisis you've ever imagined. For a long time in Kenya. And I cannot even say it is in the horizon. It is already here. And therefore, in my opinion, the Mbuzi session in Kajiado was an emergency meeting or part of an emergency meeting to address the future which is already here. I could be wrong, although I don't think so. But let's wait and see what happens. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.